Turn that damn juice on!
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. As, hey, we're actually on time this Monday because there's no Sam Pittman press conference. It's a bye week. So we feels good to be here on a nooner here on Monday, but a lot of things to get to, a lot of your reactions. But guys, felt like it was a pretty good weekend for at least me. How about y'all?
Yeah, man. Hard to complain with the results, right? Feels good. Happy to be here. And yeah, it's nice to start for a nooner on Monday for a change. How about that?
Y'all ever have those weekends where like nothing goes right for any of your sports teams and you're like, dude, why do I put so much stock into this? Like you kind of talk yourself into it where you're like, I have to stop letting sports dictate my mood and all that. This was the opposite of that. This was the weekend where it kind of reminds you why we do what we do, why we care so much, and why it's so fun to be a part of stuff like this. And not just Arkansas. It was a beautiful sports weekend for me overall. Half decent gambling weekend, and it's hard to complain. But I was a little thrown off by the bye week. I was like 5 minutes ago. I was like, dude, I can't find the link for the presser. Where's it at? I don't understand. Like, where are we doing that? They haven't even released a depth chart. I was kind of panicking. Then I was like, wait a minute. There's no game. We're actually starting on time today.
Yeah, bye week for the team means they just get to take a bye week from the media as well. So they're moving forward. Well, did they even do a catfish hole show, or do they? I still think they still do that.
I can't remember honestly.
That's a good question. Actually, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they do
a Wednesday press conference, like at 2 p.m. Wednesday or Thursday, where we get to hear about the scrimmage that they did with the young kids. They always do. That's like about what normally happens. But with 2 bye weeks, I don't know how the format changes.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure, but either way, it's a much needed bye week as Arkansas is now 6 games through the season, and I know on Saturday we had a chance to do our Pod of That Nature post game show. We of course you guys did the report card, did a devotional, but today we're opening up the phone lines and getting to your reactions too, because I know a lot of people wanted in on that. So you can call in at 478-344-6623. You can also get after us in the chat. We'll get to that as well. Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about it a lot, guys, and still a lot of Razorback fans are coming off of that high. But we're sitting here looking at this team and now going into the bye week with some momentum that I know Razorback fans really are enjoying and really desperately needed to feel good about something. But the whole thing that we always talked about this season, especially in the games they lost, is about Arkansas figuring out a way to win and finding out how to win and learning how to win. And when you had a game like this, not only do you beat a top 5 opponent, but in the way that you beat that top 5 opponent, I guess we'll see what the rest of the season holds. But do you guys believe after a game like that Arkansas has now figured out a way to win?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they figured out a way to win against Auburn. It was just a calamity of ugliness. But this felt different than that to me. This wasn't Tennessee played terrible and they were, making turnovers and making mistakes all over the place, and they made their share of mistakes. But I just felt like Arkansas went out there and beat them. They were the more prepared team. They executed better, and they didn't let one mistake or one missed opportunity compound into multiple. And at the end of the day, when you can do that against anyone, it feels good in the SEC. But to do it against a top 5 program, that's big time, man. I was really impressed by it, and all Arkansas fans wanted was a little bit of hope. We just wanted a little bit of hope, and I know people have been ticked off and, wondering what the future holds for Sam Pittman and everything like that. But credit to him, because that was a big time validation moment for Sam Pittman, from the sense of he's been saying since day one when this team was assembled, and we've heard it before, but we got a good football team. I love this football team. And even in the downswings, with these silly 1 possession losses, he said, look, we're a good team. We clean up. We stop turning over the football. We're going to win some games. And he proved his point in that one. So big time validation for him. Feel good for him and the team.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a fluke, and I'm not saying that Tennessee's, if Arkansas played Tennessee 100 times, they'd beat them 100 times. I'm sure that there would be times where Tennessee would get the better of them, but it felt like on Saturday, just the better team won that game. Now, again, Tennessee's going to have much better days. They're going to play better, and Arkansas, frankly, is going to play worse, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But it didn't feel weird. It didn't feel like a bunch, like players had to step up and things had to go right to an extent, but it didn't feel like some kind of weird thing where it just, oh, hey, Arkansas happened to win a game. It did kind of feel like a little bit of a breakthrough moment. Now, before we get too carried away, though, they learned how to win, but this team also knows how to lose a little bit. And so they'll still have to fight that week to week. But I think that, man, it's interesting to see what this boost is going to look like for this team coming out of the bye week, if they're going to be able to build on this, or does the bye week halt their momentum? But whatever the case may be, I think it just justified the way that Sam Pittman felt about his football team, the way that a lot of fans felt about this team and felt like they were capable of more. And it also just kind of re-energizes a fan base and realizing that anything is possible week to week with this team. You can kind of see anything happen. And so I think having something like that to point to is big. And I think it just adds another layer to this season, and it gives a little bit of life that, frankly, this football season needed. And we've been talking about this a lot, that like this season, it felt like all the questions we ask are not even about this season. They're about other things going on in the program. And so I look forward to kind of seeing this second half of the schedule play out and seeing fans really get behind this team in a way that I don't know if they were completely before.
Well, and then also to add to that, like, I think it was last week, Curtis, when you said that if Arkansas was going to win this game, it would be need to be an ugly game, kind of like what you saw with Auburn, where there was turnovers all over the place. Neither team played particularly well, but one team played a little bit better than the other, and that's kind of how it ended up being. And I think everybody would have agreed. But if you would have told me before the game, it's like, hey, Tennessee is going to have back-to-back touchdowns where they're going to take a 2-possession lead midway through the third quarter, and Arkansas has failed to score while being in the red zone and in Tennessee territory. They've been there 4 times and had 3 points. I mean, like, yep, they're not winning that game. But to see them go through that, to get down 2 scores, then to storm back and win, and then to make the big hold at the end of the game where they were flirting with it, but they held them at the end of the game. That to me was what kind of stood out, because you would have taken a win no matter how it would have been. But if it would have been like the Auburn game, it would be like, well, hey, it was a great game, but hey, Tennessee did this, and Tennessee played like crap, and then all of that. But now it's like, man, Arkansas is the one that played better. Arkansas was the better team. Arkansas was the better prepared, better coached, and all of that. So that's where it kind of gives at least me a little bit of an extra jolt to say, you know what? Maybe this team can screw around and win 7 games this year. Like maybe that is the case. If they're playing like this, if they're not making mistakes and turning the ball over, they're not perfect, but they at least did not give up, and to come back, I don't care if it's at home or not, to come back down 2 possessions with a team like Tennessee that you're going up against and making the plays when they matter the most in the end, with a backup quarterback and a freshman running back in a big part of that. To me, that's what sets it aside, and that's what maybe sets this team up for success the rest of the way.
Yeah, man, why not? I mean, they were definitely following a familiar script until they flipped it there. I mean, we had seen that story play out so many times, and it just felt like that's where it was headed. And even when they started mounting the comeback, I started personally to feel really good about it. And then, like you mentioned, it's like every one of your key players starts dropping. They're dropping like flies out there, and there was just every reason for Arkansas to almost win this game, but come up short. But they found a way, man. And it's just, I can't say enough, how impressed I am about the mental toughness of the team to battle back the way they did. Malachi Singleton in that's a brutal situation to be in, man. And it didn't start off well for him. And he certainly figured it out. Braylon Russell in there as a true freshman with huge carries. I mean, we could just go on and on and on down the list, but man, that was the definition of gritty. It was really, really impressive.
When you just think about it, like speaking of flipping scripts and changing narratives, with fans, we like to see things through tunnel vision, and it's really hard for us to believe something until it happens. And like for example, Rick Barnes, you see Tennessee basketball start off 21-3 in the regular season. What do we all say? Well, they're not going to do anything in March. They're not going to win in the postseason. Lamar Jackson goes 14-2 with the Ravens or whatever. Well, he's not going to beat Mahomes in the postseason. It's kind of easy to view sports through that lens of like, oh, something like this hasn't happened yet, so it's just not going to happen. And we kind of heard that all summer. You talk to Hog fans, they're like, well, I know they got Petrino, but, Arkansas football, like they're going to disappoint. They're going to find a way to lose. And I think going into this game, a lot of fans kind of had that perception. And so to see it play out in such an opposite way of what we expected, and to see Arkansas buck some of these trends and do it in the way that they did it, I think it just really puts everyone in a mental pretzel where they're like, I don't know what to expect with this football team in a good way. And so I really do think, like, I'm not trying to be too dramatic, but I just think it adds a lot more fuel to the rest of the season. And I think it's going to be a lot easier for fans to get excited now, because I feel like there were a lot of fans that were kind of scared to embrace the Hog and scared to embrace this team and scared to even like get excited for some of these games because they know what's possible. But now I think they know what's possible in a good way. And I think it just changes everything, man. It really reignites this state, honestly.
Well, I know we're going to get to a lot of your phone calls, but guys, I think we have to get to this phone call right away because this is a very important call. We love all of our callers, but this one might be a very important caller because if I'm not mistaken, Mama Armstrong, Andrew Armstrong's mother, has called into the show, one of our residential watchers. Good afternoon, Mrs. Armstrong. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm so excited. I have been just on cloud nine since the game. And, y'all, the best team won. We've been the best team in those losses, but the best team actually won this time. And to see the look on those players' faces and Coach Pittman and T. Will and Petrino, it was just electric. And I was about to jump down there, and I had to remember I'm 56. And I had to remember I can't be jumping down there with all those kids, and end up on the ground. But I was just that excited. I wasn't even thinking. And I was just so happy to see my son. He was just so excited and elated. I think that was just his best game since he was in Pee Wee football. That was exciting for them. I'm so happy. And I just really appreciate you guys' coverage because after every game, we go straight to you guys' page because we know you're going to be broadcasting right after the game. So that's really cool. You guys are amazing.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Armstrong. Yeah, that's what we and I wasn't just saying this because you were on the air with us right now, but I'm honest. Like I was going to talk about today how your son is. And he's going to start making a lot of money here soon. I mean, with games like that against Tennessee and all of that, I mean, he's been about as consistent as ever. So big part of this offense, and he's really fun to watch. And I'm glad that he and you and the family and all the Razorback team got to experience that because that's kind of like a once in a lifetime type of experience, knocking off a top 5 team at home and getting a field rush to go along with it too.
Yeah, he lives and breathes football. Like I don't even think he wants a bye week, but they needed to get the rest. But he used to sleep with a football. Like, this is what it is for him. Like, he's just so excited that the team got the win and the locker room was just so, electric. Like, this is what they play for.
Yeah, and honestly, good for him. I mean, it shows a lot of mental toughness on his part because he was on that team last year that had all those one-score losses, and he went through that, and it wasn't easy for him or Coach Pittman or anybody. And he's been one of those guys, too, who's been consistently saying, this ain't last year. This is a different team. And to get that validation is really cool. I mean, in the postgame, even when he was getting interviewed, he was very much on the we're happy, but we're not surprised train. And that was awesome. He knew that they had it in him. He talked about the struggles that they had with the Texas A&M game. And he said, hey, you know what? We just came back the next day. Guys got in the training room. We went back to practice. We were preparing to win. And the confidence was never shaken. And that's the kind of leadership you got to have to win games like they did on Saturday.
Absolutely. He's very competitive. He's got a younger brother and an older brother. So he grew up with 2 other boys in the household playing football. So he's been competitive his whole life in everything that he does. So if they had a bad season, he's like, I got to come back and we got to do better. We got to, he's basically got to redeem ourselves. And, that's why he came back because he, wanted to see this team get, better recognition.
Well, we're certainly glad that he chose Arkansas to do it, to show this awesome version of himself. And man, it's just been crazy thinking about his journey throughout his collegiate career alone. I know you've been watching him play football for his entire life, but we're talking about a guy who, if I'm not mistaken, redshirted his first year of college at what at the time was a D2 school, now an FCS school, and like to work his way up on that team. Now all of a sudden he's a leading receiver in the SEC and he's the best player on the field that has all these future first-round draft picks. Like, it's just been special to watch his journey and see someone get exponentially better every year of their career, which sounds like the case you want everyone to do, but it's really pretty rare to see kids really put in that much work and actually see the work show up on the field every year. I mean, he's gotten massively better each year of his career, and so I know you guys, it's got to be easy to be proud of him and just watch his journey play out.
Absolutely. And you know what? I believe that's why he is so focused and so driven, because it has not been easy for him. He graduated high school, didn't have any D1 offers. He had to go to a camp and pretty much get his own offer for Texas A&M Commerce. And he emerged as a leader on that team, you know, and it was so wonderful just to hear your son's name being called out on TV. And I think he really struggled to even go in the portal, because, you know, he felt like this team gave me an opportunity. But, you know, I think everybody was like, hey, you know, you got what it takes to go ahead and see, you know, what you can get. And then he went in that portal and had 20-something offers. Like, it was crazy. And when he got to Arkansas and, you know, went on the visit and saw the city, he didn't need to go on any other visits. And that's what it was. And we told him, you know, whatever God has for you is for you. This is a journey that you were supposed to take. So whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. And that's how he looks at it. So we're very proud of him.
Well, Mrs. Armstrong, we really appreciate you watching us and calling in. You're welcome to call back anytime you want. We'll always put you to the front of the line. We'll give you that bat line type of thing where you just go right to the front. So, but we appreciate you getting in the chat, and of course, appreciate all that you and your son and the family being a part of Arkansas and being a part of something like that on Saturday. And hopefully we have a lot more of that to talk about later as the season goes on. But enjoy it and celebrate and have fun during the bye week. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Go Hogs.
All right. Andrew Armstrong's mother calling in. How about that? Yeah, it was funny because when we have our setup on the phone lines and everything, I just see this pop up, and I see Rashawn Armstrong, and I'm like, yep, we got to do this right now. I don't even care. Yeah, it's like, I do not care what we're talking about. I don't care how many great points we're making. We got to get to that. So that was really cool. But seriously, guys, on that topic though. I was going to bring it up today. How I've said Jaquindon Jackson is the best player on this team, best player on this offense. And this is not a side against him, because I still think he's great. I just think it's more about continuing to see the consistency and the excellence of Andrew Armstrong. I'm starting to think he's the best player on this offense. As automatic as they come, he gets targeted. He makes catches. The other team knows he is the go-to guy for Taylen Green, and he is still just finding ways to make plays. And with his size and speed and athleticism, I told her he's going to be making a lot of money, but it's been really cool to see his development and his consistency throughout the Arkansas offense, because they have lacked that in a lot of other areas.
Yeah, he's the real deal, man. And he's doing it against some of the best in the country. You know, he's just so technically sound in everything he does. Like his routes are always so crisp, his breaks, his footwork, everything is just on point. And then he's got great hands and great size to go along with it. I'd like to say he's always open, and it feels like he is, but even when he's not, he's winning the 50-50 balls now. And he's just, I didn't know if there was another level that he could go to after last year. Sometimes you wonder about that. Is like, if he is what he is, that's great, but he has taken it to another level, been just super impressive. And you have to consider too, he missed a lot of time during fall camp with that injury, and he wasn't healthy at the beginning of the season, and just comes right back in there like he hasn't missed a beat, man. It's good stuff.
I mean, yeah, he missed the first game of the year, and he still is second in the SEC in receiving. He's got more receiving yards than Ryan Williams. Did y'all see the stat that they put out today? That was like, Armstrong's the only player in the country with 35 receptions, 500 yards, and 0 touchdowns. Bobby P, we got to get this guy in the end zone. I know when Arkansas gets to the red zone, they just abandon throwing the ball. They pretty much the only passing touchdowns come from like 50 yards downfield. But I mean, hey, sometimes you got to throw a bone to the guy that gets you down the field. I mean, we see that happen all the time. Get the dude in the end zone. Get him 3 or 4 just so he ends up on every single one of those lists. The first team All-SEC, get him on an All-American list. Like, you know, this guy deserves as many of the individual accolades. And, you know, I said it to his mom, but it really has just been cool. Like, you just don't see that often in college sports. A guy who actually gets exponentially better each season. Because even his first year when he was at Texas A&M Commerce playing, I mean, it was like 300, 400 yards, something like that. Then the next year, he's like, oh, now he's like their go-to guy. Now all of a sudden he's a go-to guy in the SEC, and now he's a freaking borderline All-American. Like, that's rare, man, and that's special. And it's just, I'm glad that they picked Arkansas to shine.
You're 100% right, man. He's too good of a teammate to care about it personally, but we care. Get him a touchdown.
Yeah, we care. Right. That's right. That's right. And I'm just going to say, moms are never wrong. We all know that. We grew up with moms. Moms were never wrong. And she says that Inside Arkansas is the best coverage and we do the best job, better than anybody. So, I mean, if you don't agree with that, you're calling Mama Armstrong a liar. And that's not what we're not going to stand for that.
The jury is no longer out. So
all you folks that are mean to us in the chat, you're going against the Armstrong family. I hope you know that.
Yeah. You hate the Armstrongs. You hate the Hogs if that's the case. So, but no, we appreciate her. Appreciate all of everybody calling him. That was really cool to. Anytime you get to talk with family members of players, especially after a moment like that, it is really awesome too. So appreciate her calling in. We got a lot of phone lines lighting up, so we'll try to work through a few of these. Let's go to Nick, who is in. Oh, it's Nick Lee from the chat. What's up, Nick?
Hey, man, doing great here. We're all in hog heaven, right?
Yes, sir.
Certainly feels like it.
Yeah, man, we've been waiting for this. Like, we've already done it this year with Auburn and everything, but we've been capable of this for 2 years. I'm glad that we're finally getting it on the right track of things. It was a great game. We got a lot of things to clean up. I'm glad we got a bye week going into LSU, but we got so much to clean up still. But I'm so excited for the team. I have been all year. I called the game, the 1999 score this week. I was only off by 1 point, 19-14. So, but anyway, I'm so happy for our Hogs. I'm happy for the fan base, and I can't wait till we get LSU. I'll work with a bunch of LSU guys and girls. We get along, but we're not going to be getting along for the next week and a half.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think Andrew can probably relate to that, having a bunch of friends, LSU friends, and all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, dude, you should not worry about getting along with LSU fans. I mean, look, there are a lot of people near and dear to my heart are LSU fans, but don't worry about pissing them off. You should. I'm scared. I haven't started talking trash yet, but the closer that game gets, I'm gonna start. I'll wait and see what Taylen Green's availability is like, but I'm gonna be throwing some stones here soon.
Let them lose too. Let them lose to Ole Miss this weekend first, and then when they're hurt,
I do have a question though. Do you guys think we should be ranked right now? We're not in the top 25 right now. Do you guys think we should be ranked? And I'm gonna hang up.
All right, thanks, Nick.
I think I'm cool with where they're at.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Not only just getting back into that receiving votes category, but receiving a lot of them. It means a good handful of people probably voted them as number 25 in the poll or whatever. I think they had 17 votes or something like that. Maybe they're 5 or 6 spots outside. But yeah, it feels like a win away type of situation for them to get in there. I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, like there probably aren't 25 teams better than Arkansas. But at the same time, it's a meritocracy, and you kind of have to, who you are, what your record says you are, and you are what you do on the field on Saturday. And obviously, Arkansas this past Saturday showed they were one of the better teams in the country and capable of that. But you just don't get to lose to Oklahoma State, blow a huge lead, and lose a very winnable A&M game. Which, by the way, there's no shame in losing that A&M game. Like we shouldn't lump those two losses together because the A&M one is a lot more excusable. But yeah, I think that Oklahoma State loss still kind of matters a little bit. But it's not like Arkansas can't dig themselves out of it. I mean, they were only receiving a few votes, which kind of surprised me. But I imagine if they beat LSU, some other teams win and lose between now and then, I'd imagine Arkansas is right back in there. And so, go out there and prove it against LSU that you're one of the top 25 teams.
If that Oklahoma State loss wasn't, a dog water team, then I might be arguing a little bit more. But they've fallen completely off the face of the earth. So
yeah, it's not good, and it makes me wonder too, like. Do they move up during the bye? If certain teams lose this weekend,
you could sneak up.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe they'll get their process of elimination. Arkansas will kind of drift up.
Yeah, because I think as of right now they are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
34,
31 according to the AP. 31. Yeah, they're 31. So yeah, a couple. If USC loses in front of them, or Nebraska, or Michigan loses again, Maybe Burt at Illinois. He's right there too. So could happen.
How about this? Arkansas might be better than Michigan. Hey, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, they might be. It might be. It's amazing how much a game can change and a week can change a lot of that. But I mean, truly, they might be. A lot of phone calls coming, and we're going to try to work through a lot of these folks. We'll get to you as soon as we can. This one's always a good one and always entertaining. Let's go to Eddie, who's in Clarksville. Good morning and afternoon, Eddie.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon to this great fan base in the Hog Nation. You should be Hog proud today. I called for the win last week because I knew one thing. As good as the balls are, they've been shopping at the pastry shop. They hadn't faced the top 40 defense all season long. I knew they were coming in to the Hog Pound, and I knew that we're going to beat them. And we beat them before, and we beat them again, was proven last Saturday. I'm reminded this, gentlemen, every Hog has his stroll in the sun, and we had a big stroll Saturday night. I want to give out awards right now. I want to give this fan base. I've been a part of many crowds over the decades, many big wins by our program. But the fan base Saturday night at Hog Pound, USA, I got to give the hats off to you. You get the gold medal award, Eddie, for Clarksville style, burning down the house, and that's exactly what you did. And what effort, what tenacity by our team. You know, yes, we've lost a couple. We should have won, but they stayed focused. And you know what? The song you need to crack up. You know what we did? We displayed our kryptonite. Three-way down, cracking up, baby, by our fan base and our team. Crank up the big team boys. Fight for your right. And we did that. And let me say about the Bengals of Baton Rouge, we're going to take 2 weeks to heal up. And when you come in to Hog Pound, USA, we're going to beat you, baby. We'll see you at Fayetteville in 2 weeks, baby.
Okay, thanks, Eddie. Fire us up, man. Eddie's pumped, guys.
Damn pig.
Eddie is pumped after a game like that. That was great. Hog Pound. Is it Hog Pound USA or Hog Town
USA?
Hog Town USA. He said, "Be hog proud." I like that.
Yeah,
I'm hog proud.
Which, by the way, he's right. Like, you got to give it up to the fans because I'll be honest. Obviously, it's a big game. You're playing number 4 in the country. You know, it shouldn't be that hard to get up for that. But we had some questions. Like, we wondered if the fan base, which has been kind of hit or miss with this team, and they showed up for the UAB game and got shown a rough performance. And so we kind of wondered, like, would that excitement really be there? Would it feel like a huge atmosphere? And I think a resounding yes is the answer. It felt like a special atmosphere, and that showed up.
Man, yeah. Put that on repeat. Put that in the locker room before the game. Get Eddie up there and give you a little pump up pep talk for you. Let's keep going here. Okay, got to hear for this guy too. It's Unbiased Brim. What's going on, Unbiased Brim?
What's going on, gentlemen? I can't compete with the last caller, man. I can't get that hype. That was amazing. That was truly amazing. I'm truly hype. I'm ready to go put on some pads.
Yeah, who can compete with that, though? I mean, who can?
Yes, I can't. You know what? I said we had a 25% chance, and it's really relieving, and it's really it's hard to put in words. I just really appreciate the team giving their best effort, going through adversity, overcoming it, having a lot of positives, having a lot of things that you can see and work on, and seeing those improvements going from week to week, and then having this extra week off to be prepared for LSU. So I could talk about the game and all the excitement, but I'm going to play a little trivia with you guys. I like doing this with you, gentlemen. So we're going to take 100% pie on the rest of the season and the second half season. Are we going to be in hog heaven or not? So out of these records, you got to use the percentage of the 100% of what you think is going to be. So 10-2, full Kool-Aid. What percentage out of the pie you think we can reach? 10-2, full Kool-Aid mode.
5% at best.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, single digit percentage. I would say for sure, but I'm gonna go 3% just because of how you'd have to beat Texas and Ole Miss. Aside from everyone else, I think that's a tough one.
I'll go 1%. I'll be the hater in this.
Hater.
Okay, so we got, where was it? 5, 3, and 1. Okay, so now next one, 6-6. Not acceptable.
Yeah, I think 6-6. Actually, I'll put 6-6 at 5% as well. I think it's going to be better than that.
It's going to be better than that.
Okay, so you use 10% of your pie.
That's right. Yeah, 10% of my pie, Andrew.
So hold on. Now, how many? I need some help with my math here. There's 6 possible options of what their record could be, right? And we don't think they're going to be 4-8.
That's
we don't
correct.
think 5-7. I think I'm going to go
I'm only going to go. I'm basically using 6, and I'm going 6 and 6 to 10-2. I'm not going anything lower than that.
Okay, I'm going to go like 15 to 20% on this. Like, I don't think it's likely, but I think it's more likely than 2. I'm going to go like 15%. Let's go 15.
15% was exactly what I had on my mind, so I'm gonna stick with that too.
All right, Q, total your percentages. Okay, 9-3, a well executed overall team performance and finish to the season. Percentage.
Yeah, I'm going to say 15% on that one. I'll give that one 15% of a chance.
I'm gonna go 10%.
All right, so
Let's see. I'm trying to do my math now. So I went 3% on the 10-2, and I went 15%. So I'm gonna go about.
So you got 83% left.
Okay, hold on, wait a minute. My math is struggling here. I'm gonna go with 17% because I think that gets me to 35%. 17% chance they go 9-3.
All right. Bet. All right, next 7-5. Just enough, good enough season.
I'll say, because I got 25% of mine used up, so I got 75% left. But 7-5, I'm going to give that to the majority, 65%, because that's what I predicted before the season started. So I want to be right. So I'm going to use 65%. I believe they go to 7-5.
I'm gonna go 50%, 7-5.
I'm going 40%, 7-5, and I'm going my remaining 25%. I pulled out the calculator and did the math. 40% for 7-5, and I'm going to go 25%, 8-4. I think those are the two most likely outcomes. How about that, Hog fans? What you think?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I got 7-5 at 50%, 8-4, then at 24%.
And John, yours is only 10%, isn't it?
It is.
You got because you went 55 on 7-5. Boo!
He's just like they are guaranteed going 7-5, like just guaranteed. Which, I mean, look, 7-5. I feel like if we were doing odds on it, like probably does have the best odds, right?
Yeah, I would think so. But it's also funny too because then I'm looking at them like, so according to my own brain, apparently they have a better chance of going 9-3 than 8-4 because I had that at 15% instead of 10%. So yeah,
right over it.
That's my life. That's my mind.
There is a logic to that too, though. You know, there can be a logic to that because think about it. We go into this LSU game. If we win the LSU game, we feel pretty good about beating Mississippi State. Now, no game is a given, but if that happens, we go in 6-2 to the Ole Miss game. So the implications completely change. So we have another big game at night. Now I'm glad that we get an opportunity to do it again. You know, and so I'm confident whether either quarterback's in the game. I hope TG is healthy and able to play. And even if he's healthy and able to play, we should hold him all the way to game time decision. So LSU has to prepare for both quarterbacks.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Grim, let me ask you,
100% happening.
That's
you were kind of on the Singleton train, right? Am I wrong on that? Like a week ago?
I'm absolutely. I'm still on the Singleton train, but TG's QB1. He's a leader. He's QB1, and he played a good game. And you can. He had some mistakes, but he had so many great throws. And from 20 to 20, he's phenomenal. We just got to be able to finish drives. The truth of the matter is, if we execute and finish drives, we would have had a couple blowouts this year. That's how well we've played from 20 to 20. So that if that aspect of the game gets we can be instead of having five possessions and end up with 10 points, those 5 possessions might be 24 points instead. That completely changed the dynamics, and we can take control of games. You know, so I just hope they can continue to work and build. You know, they have so many positives to build on, and they have so many things that they see that they can work on. And game at a time. But every game is winnable, and 4 out of the 6 games to me are losable. So game at a time. I got 8-4. That's what I got. 8-4. I'm hoping for 9-3, but I got 8-4.
Right. I guess the Missouri game is probably the biggest swing game left in terms of 7-5. Like LSU's, I'd say pretty much a swing game. But like everyone's kind of counting the Mississippi State and Louisiana Tech as they should, and probably counting Ole Miss and Texas as losses. Yeah. Those are the two kind of the Tigers are the swing ones here. But I'm excited to see it play out. But I'm also excited to hear your thoughts on the quarterback situation, because I feel like you're unbiased. You're a pretty solid, objective, like-minded Razorback fan. And so I kind of wondered what the fan base's reaction, like if there would be more confidence in Taylen. And it sounds like you have more confidence in him. And so I'd imagine hopefully most Arkansas fans, at least he showed them a little something on Saturday. Yeah,
and appreciate the phone call, Unbiased. But I know that you've been somebody in the chat that's been big on that. But that's what we love. We love the chatters ended up calling in. And we appreciate the fun math and making us look stupid with our percentages. That was great.
That was a fun exercise.
I figured
it out quick enough to start writing it down over here, so I feel okay about what I had going on. But
it took me a few games before I was like, wait a minute, I need this to equal 100. I'm in trouble here.
My math added up, but my the ones that I put the percentages on were all jacked up. So, but guys, we got to do another caller here. Okay. So, because I know we got to hear from Mama Armstrong earlier, let's go ahead and hear from Papa Armstrong, who is calling in on the show as well. What's going on, Mr. Armstrong?
How you fellas doing?
We're doing great.
Great, man.
I'm taking on all questions.
Well, I guess I'll start it off, because I know that, we were talking about your son in the way that he's played, not only this season, but particularly in this game. Just we heard from the mom side, but how about the dad? How does the dad feel after a performance like that and after a game like that, the type of emotions and reaction from it?
Watching him play that game there, that was the highest level I've ever seen him play. I've coached him since Pee Wee. I prepared him mentally to be that type of player. Andrew's strong in the mind because it's all mental first. I always taught him it's a mental game first, physical after. So once you figure out where you need to be on the field, how fast you need to get there, then you'll start developing. And then it's starting to just transpire all over in front of everybody. Andrew's been playing football for a long time. He's played quarterback. He used to be a quarterback, which makes this even easier to him. So now he knows where he needs to be because he wanted his receivers there. So it's just a beautiful thing to watch him play like this. It's incredible to me because I never saw this coming as far as his athletic ability. I know his mental was always there, but his ability to go catch the ball, I used to make him sit down in the front yard and sit Indian style, and I just throw the ball out to him and say, don't just react to the ball, attack the ball with one hand, grab it with one hand. Don't grab it with your elbows. Don't pull it in. Just reach and grab it. I said, do it with one hand, then start doing it with two hands. Extend your body. Learn how to extend your body to the ball. So now you're starting to see where all that's playing out at.
Yeah, man, it's that's awesome. But hey, I just want to ask you real quick. Last year, Andrew had a really good individual season. Things worked out pretty well for him. Was there any concern in the offseason for you guys, just as his parents, like, Arkansas went 4-8 last year. There's all these rumors about the head coach and new offensive coordinator, and obviously Andrew had such a good year and he's a leader on this team. Was there any concern about this offseason of like, hey, is this how we want his last year of college football to go out? And obviously it seems like it worked out well, but just take me back to last season. Was there any concern from you guys' side on that?
No, Andrew was determined to make everything right. So when he had a season like that, which is he was determined to come back and change it all for the team, not for himself. He's never been selfish about it on the football field. As you see, he's not whining about catching touchdowns. So he's just trying to put the ball, move the chains, and that's what it is. So last year, his determination at the end of the season was to come back and make it all right. He owed Arkansas that because Arkansas gave him the platform and the ability and the opportunity to be on this stage.
Have you noticed? I'm curious. Have you noticed, or maybe the better question is, what is the impact that you've seen on Andrew from this new offensive coaching staff? I mean, Petrino, Ronnie Fouch, just a different set of voices and a different level of coaching there for him. What kind of impacts that made on him?
from my view, just him getting an NFL body. He's really working on his blocking schemes. We know he can catch the ball. We know he can run his routes. He got great speed. He's concentrating on making sure he frees up everybody else. So if he can work on his blocking game, which is what he's been working on, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but he's really been doing some serious blocking out there when he's not getting that ball. So his transformation is phenomenal to me, but it's all in preparation. He knows what it's going to take to get there. He's always played tough football coming out of the DeSoto area. Even him and JJ, when they were kids, they played against each other. So we were seeing this all the time. So now we're seeing it as they're, young men. It's at a high rate of speed. It's like running in two cars crashing each other every play. Andrew's been doing this for a long time. It's been mental.
Well, Mr. Armstrong, I heard that Ms. Armstrong's talked about having a younger brother. He a big Razorback fan, the younger brother, really talented wide receiver. Would he be interested in coming to Arkansas to play? Can we start that recruiting right now, if that's the case?
He's actually a coach, man. He's a coach. He's coaching at a junior college right now. He was here for the Arkansas spring game, and apparently a lot of the coaches that's working with the Arkansas Razorbacks currently actually coached at Hutchinson Junior College over in Kansas. So that's where he's at right now. He's actually a linebackers and quality control coach with those guys.
Wow.
So right now he don't want to play football no more. But when he was a freshman, he was actually being recruited by Texas as a dual threat quarterback.
That's awesome.
So, and his older brother is where he got his footwork from.
I was going to
actually. Older brother showed him a lot about his footwork.
Well, I was going to actually follow up on that when he talked about him being a quarterback. What was that transition like when it became a wide receiver? Did he enjoy playing quarterback? Does he like playing wide receiver more? Like, how did that go from him being that to becoming an all SEC caliber wide receiver?
Well, growing up when he got to junior high, he played, I think, his seventh grade. He went and that's when he switched over from quarterback to wide receiver. And at that point, when I asked him, I said, "Why'd you do that?" He said he just didn't want the responsibility of the quarterback no more. I said, "Okay, well, I'll just follow. We're just gonna watch and see how you do it." And the next thing you know, he was out there running routes and going by people. And I said, "Oh, okay, now I see. Now you're using your size and your speed to get by people." At that time, he was real thin, but he can fly and he can go up and get the ball.
Well, I'd say it's definitely working out for him. There's no question about it. But, hey, we really appreciate both you and Mom Armstrong calling in. This is awesome. You guys are welcome to call in anytime. We love talking with you and hearing more about it. I know it's been a great weekend for you, and hopefully it ends up continuing to be a great season for y'all. But we appreciate you listening in, chiming in, and calling in. This has been awesome.
Right. I jumped down there. I was going to start making some angels on the ground. So I don't want to blow out no knees and elbows, so I got on up out the way.
Well, that's good to hear. Glad you made it out of there alive and made it out of there healthy. That's important. But enjoy the bye week.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a great win.
Absolutely.
Great win for Arkansas.
Absolutely. Well,
I'm going to tell you like this, fellas. Arkansas has the most experienced offensive playmakers in the SEC. They're not losing another game.
Ooh.
They just turned the corner right before our eyes.
All right.
Love it.
Trust me on that. Look at Texas's roster. Look at Texas' roster. Look at Ole Miss's roster. Look at who they played. Look who Arkansas played. Look how Arkansas handled them. Look how they're playing against SEC competition, who Texas has yet to play anybody in the SEC other than Mississippi State. No knock on them, but we're talking about Mississippi State. Texas will have 2 losses when they show up in Fayetteville.
Okay, I see. Listen, I love the comments. So about his percentages, I guess he's got 100% at 10-2 because that's what Arkansas is going to be at. Hey, I'd love to go down to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. Like, I'm good with that. I'm good to go into the playoff. That'll be fun.
They're not losing.
They're not losing another game.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Well, hey, we heard it here first. We appreciate you, Papa Armstrong.
Yes, sir. You have a great week.
Y'all as well.
Have a good one, man. Appreciate you.
There you go.
I'm moving my 10-2 from. I'm doubling it from 1% to 2%. Man, I'm going up.
Dude, I'm loving this. Like, but that's awesome. Like, I mean, if any of the Armstrong brothers want to call in, we'll let them chime in too.
Yeah,
but,
Or Andrew, what are you doing, dude? What are you eating lunch? Like, come on, give us a call, man. It's Dubai week.
Finish up in the training room. Give us a call.
Yeah, that was but that was awesome. That was cool to hear from them and to hear their excitement and everything too in his journey. So yeah, they're welcome to hang out and call in anytime. So yeah, we got a lot of other things to get to and some other chats. We want to give a shout out to some of our sponsored chats, super chats, if you will. Young Sea Lion says, I really want T. Will as the next head coach. Y'all think there's any way to Pittman retiring rumors? I know he's got a pretty bad hip. So I don't know if there's any truth to rumors, but it's like, it's educated guesses maybe, or something like that.
He was talking about that hip in the post game on Saturday, and he was like maneuvering around in that seat quite a bit. So whatever it is, it's barking at him. I don't know if that means he's ready to retire or not. But to the T. Will point, we've heard a lot of people, we could just go back to the last time we did this show saying, now T. Will needs to be the head coach. He needs to be the next head coach in waiting, whatever. Well, what we were saying is if this thing, bottoms out and Pittman's fired, like that's a difficult move to make. But this kind of thing is how you get it done, So a situation where they turn things around and he continues to have that defense balling out, they have a good season or two or however many it takes for Sam Pittman before he decides, hey, I'm going to ride off into the sunset because this is going well and I'm happy. Then you can make that move. So Saturday, I think, is for anybody who's on that T. Will for head coach down the road train. That was probably a pretty good thing for you there.
It certainly opened up the door for that. And I was actually thinking about that. Hillary asked me right before I came in up here to do the show. She was like, hey, so like, does that mean Sam Pittman's like not getting fired? Like she was just, she's not as in deep on it. But she was like, hey, they had a huge win the other day. Like, does that mean that he's not being fired? And I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But I was like, the whole situation that everyone's been talking about for a year. And we're not saying this is going to happen, but it's been a heavily circulated rumor about Sam Pittman wanting to kind of retire soon and stuff like that. I think a win like this makes that a much more real possibility. And I agree, Curtis, that like if T. Will is going to be the next head coach at Arkansas, it would have to be something like that. If Pittman gets fired, there's no way T. Will is the next head coach. Like that's just not going to. It just doesn't really make sense. And so I think a win like that, and the way that it happened, and the way that this thing seems to be trending, it's definitely a much more legitimate possibility than honestly I ever thought. Even like 6 weeks ago, I really wasn't sold on like it being a real possibility. But I think that my tune has certainly changed on that. I think it's in play, and I also do think like I understand why we're going to continue to talk about this and discuss it, but I also think there's something to be said about just week to week, next game on the schedule. Sam Pittman's the head coach against LSU. Just let this year be what it's going to be, and we can figure out where to go with big picture with the program afterwards.
The scary thing is that Travis Williams is no longer the best kept secret. People know now, man. They know now. He
hit that rap. He became it's been a thing, man. Nationally, he's starting to gain some steam.
And he deserves every bit of it, man. He's done a phenomenal job. And so it made me think, I know we talked about it this past weekend, but just made me think, man, if Arkansas lost this game and just what this week would be like, what the bye week would be like as far as the conversations, all it would be is just, all right, who's the next head coach? Who's the next head coach? That's all it would be. And it just be disgusting and annoying. But JT over here saying with a sponsor comment, appreciate you, JT, says T. Will be the next UAB head coach. So he's already firing Trent.
Right on this whole thing.
Yeah, firing Trent Dilfer already, apparently.
Well, I think Dilfer's getting himself fired quick.
Yeah, you're terrible.
They gave up 70 to Tulane over the weekend, man.
Did y'all see that whole video about him where he like put his kids in the press conference and let them come up, and he was like, "Come on, they can come up here. It's not like this is Alabama."
No, I missed that.
He was doing a press conference. Hey, it wasn't this past weekend. It was the weekend before. I don't know who they lost to, but he was literally like, his kids were like wanting to come sit with him. And so I think it was maybe his wife or whoever was like holding him back. And he's like, oh, no, it's cool. They can come up here. This isn't Alabama. And which, accurate, but also like people at UAB did not like that. They do not like when you put down your own program and stuff like that. And the team stinks. And so, yeah, I think he's now like 5-14 as their coach. I don't think it's going to be a long stay in Birmingham for Mr. Trent.
No.
No, not at all. Also, I think
Will would have to be one of the top candidates for that job, right? I mean, he's from Alabama. He knows that state. He grew up in that state, played in that state. Like, I would imagine that's going to be their dream hire.
I mean, I would think so, but it's been a rough go for college football there in the state of Alabama this past weekend. Really rough go for all the teams there too. And also shout out to Storytime Play says, sorry guys, would have been around post game. I was too busy dealing with liquid coming out of my eyes. LOL.
Well, we had a little bit of that going on in ours as well.
There's a lot of that happening all over the place. But we appreciate your sponsor comment, your super chat, if you will, no matter what. Did want to bring this up too, as we were talking about the court there at Bud Walton Arena. This is Hunter Yurchek's tweet just now, folks.
Are you serious?
Yes, yeah. Just now. And the only reason I saw it is because I have notifications turned on for Curtis, and I saw Curtis tweet it. So I was like, we got to bring this up. So Hunter Yurchek says, it was a great weekend, and now we are less than $100,000 towards our $500,000 challenge at Arkansas Edge NIL. To get the slobbering hog back on the court of Bud Walton Arena, less than 48 hours remain, and I'm not sure about the alternative option. And this SOB had the audacity to put that front-facing hog in a picture on the court at Bud Walton Arena. Dude,
all right, this is objectively hilarious.
That's awesome.
Objectively funny move. +1 to Hunter Yurchek, like genuinely, because obviously he's kidding. That's not going to be with the court. He's obviously kidding, and honestly making fun of the logo. That's just great work, man. That's good stuff.
Yeah, very well done on his part. It's not even low key anymore. He's funny. He's funny.
Yes. He's I saw that and I'm like, dude, like the fact that he's aware. That's what I like about him. He's aware. He may not always do everything perfectly that every fan wants him to do, but he understands where the fans stand on a lot of things, and he knows where they stand on that front-facing hog. That's outstanding. Good job, Hunter Yurchek. Thank you for that. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I appreciate that. Let's get into your Arkansas update real quick. Presented by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters most. Go see my boy Clayton over there, and he'll get you all squared away and all set up. And this actually kind of goes perfectly into a question I believe one of you guys starred too about the SEC awards that came out this week. Fernando Carmona is officially the co-offensive SEC Offensive Player of the Week, and kudos to him. Got to love those co's. But then you have Malachi Singleton, who was named SEC Freshman of the Week for the Hogs. And somebody was saying, hey, why didn't Braylon Russell win that instead of Malachi Singleton?
That's kind of a fair question, but my goodness, we talk so much about, I don't know, just how difficult of a position Singleton was put into there. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was worried about him for a minute, like the exchange there with the snaps, blaming on him, blaming on Nichols, whatever, but it was kind of a mess down there in the goal line. You have back-to-back 3 and outs. I think it tells you a lot when the announcers, the A team is like, yeah, Arkansas better get good field position because I don't think they're getting a first down without Taylen Green. And they kept saying it over and over and over. And then he just walks out there and it's like the switch flip, man, and hit that tunnel screen to Satania, marched him right down the field. That's some big cojones for Singleton. I love it, man.
Yeah, I think it's awesome for him to get that recognition. And I agree that like the position he was put in was a tough one. And so, it's an objectively awesome moment, regardless of whether he had won SEC like Freshman of the Week. I feel like that's just kind of a cherry on top. But what I'm guessing is that there wasn't a ton of SEC true freshman performances going on this week. I know Ryan Williams caught a huge touchdown pass, but obviously Bama lost to Vandy. So it's like you can't give him SEC, especially after he just had the game he had against Georgia. And so it's like that's kind of the bar. And I think with Braylon Russell, who had a good game, I mean, he was, what do you have, 62 yards rushing, led Arkansas in rushing, had a high yards per carry and all that. But even his performance, I wouldn't say that's necessarily like a true like SEC Freshman of the Week type of performance. With Singleton, I'm guessing it's the game-winning touchdown. You know what I mean? It's like if a kicker had made the game-winning 38-yarder, it's like you'd go ahead and give him the nod.
Exactly. SEC misses out on just an opportunity to do what they always do. They could have just gave him You're right, Rob. You're 100% right, man.
Have they done co-freshman of the weeks? I'm sure they have.
If they were going to make an exception, it would have been this week. So
would have been. Yeah. Jeez, man. So
I was a little surprised when I saw that. I was like, interesting. Guess the freshmen were not cooking in the SEC this week, low key.
I guess not. Not in that capacity, at least. But also, as part of the Arkansas update, we already knew this, but I guess now it's confirmed or whatever. We've been reporting this for weeks, but now it's been officially confirmed that Arkansas LSU will be a 6:00 kick on ESPN. Not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, October 19th.
We knew it was going to be a night game. It was just a matter of if it was 6 or 6:30. We had the triple oars going, but 6 p.m. ESPN, fun.
Yep. It's going to be a wild one and a lot of fun. Yeah. And the atmosphere, you thought it was great against Tennessee, which it was. But coming off of that game, now the LSU game, man, there's going to be some fights, and I can't wait to see it all break out. It's going to be awesome. And also part of that we'll do for your Alumni Hall question of the day, sponsored by Alumni Hall here in Fayetteville, 3417 North College Avenue. A lot of people went there to get up their great Razorback gear on Saturday. So you got some time now, folks, before the LSU game. If you need just some great apparel, there's only one place to go. It's Alumni Hall. You can shop it online, alumnihall.com/Arkansas-Razorbacks. And you can also visit them on their college location here in Fayetteville. The best, the greatest, the nicest stuff, Southern Tide, Columbia, Nike, Peter Millar, Johnny O. They have it all. No other place you need to go. In fact, next Thursday, we'll be live from there again. So you can come out and see us there and get your shopping done. But I was just going to ask you this, just like I did everybody else, but your 6 games through the season, what grade? I know you guys do the report card stuff, but what grade would you give Arkansas 6 games through the season, midway point of the season?
B+.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
B+. I'd like to give them an A after what happened yesterday. And honestly, a lot of people thought this team was going to finish 4-8, and here they are 4-2, and you got a top 5 win. But I don't want to get too carried away because it is the big picture. They had, at least 1, well, 2 you'd like to have back. 1 you really wish you had back. But man, it's hard to ignore the way they turn it around here. I go B+.
I'm going B, only B, and the options that John had listed were A, B, C, D, F. I'm not going to clarify if it's a B+, B-. It's just a B. It's just what it is. And for the same reasons, Curtis, the Oklahoma State loss, I'm glad. I'm almost like weirdly enough, like glad Oklahoma State sucks and they've shown that they've sucked, so that everyone who was yelling at us for being upset about that loss can shut the hell up. Because clearly Arkansas should not have lost that game. Now we understand why, and like it is what it is. We're not going to make it. We don't have to keep going back to it. But like, do y'all agree, fans, in hindsight, that Arkansas absolutely had no business losing that game? And so yeah, if they had won that game, I would give them an A, even with the A&M loss, which again was one I thought that was meaningful. But I mean, the over/under for Arkansas preseason in Vegas was 5.5 wins. This was a team that it was a question of whether or not they were going to make a bowl game. We were talking a little bit about the ESPN FPI, or I saw someone in the chat say that it now has Arkansas going 7-5. Preseason, it had Arkansas going 4-8. And now it has them like favored to beat Mississippi State, favored to beat LSU. The Missouri game's going to end up getting closer and closer. Like it's the ESPN FBI has definitely like according to them, Arkansas has outperformed expectations. According to the Vegas over/under, Arkansas has outperformed expectations. And I mean, what's Arkansas? Are they 5-1 against the spread, 4-2 against the spread? They didn't cover against UAB, weirdly enough. But against UAPB, they covered. Oklahoma State, they weirdly covered. Who'd they play week 4? Auburn they obviously covered. And then A&M, they covered. Tennessee, they covered. I'm just telling you. 5-1 against the spread. Well,
I'm going to have them at a B as well, just because those options, which I wanted more options there. But I'm like, because no one in the right mind is like, seriously, although people still voted on it, giving them a D. I'm like, okay. Like, if you're giving them a D grade at 4-2,
that's tough.
Yeah. Like, what was your expectation? Jeez. But I think that's fair. And 74% say B, 22% say C, and then 3.5% say A. So, yeah, still some people out there. C grade. They got to get better. Got to get better from that, apparently. And I meant to bring this as part of the Arkansas update as well. But either way, Arkansas was also officially fined $250,000 from the SEC for rushing the field. So
Vanderbilt only $100K. What was the difference? Do we know the difference between those two?
It's a first offense for Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's right.
yeah, they haven't had many big wins to rush. So this was by far one of the biggest ones there. So, but a few of the chats that we want to get into, folks, too, because I know we'll have best of worst of the weekend. We're going to be live at the Leroy tonight, the Leroy Lounge at 6 o'clock, starting our live stream and our Inside Arkansas Hangout. Come and hang out with us. It's going to be a great time. Get ready for the Monday Night Football game and everything tonight. But shout out to Nick. He says for a sponsored chat, he says, we only need 100,000 to get the slobbering hog, and y'all rush the field and set us back 150,000. JK, well worth it. Go Hogs.
Yeah, y'all are selfish, man.
Bunch of jerks.
When you don't get what you want, you know why.
What if Yurachek would have said that? He's like, well, I was going to do the slobbering hog, but then, now we have this fine. And so, yeah.
I was hoping that there would be like some sort of like almost like a 5-year-old's drawing of a Razorback. Be like, this is all we can afford now. It's just this little thing there. Or like some sort of just random pig that's pink. I don't know. Something like that he could have thrown in there. Also, okay, Jeff, I guess one of y'all highlighted this. It didn't seem that Fowler was trashing Singleton during the game. He's basically saying the Hogs wouldn't win with him at quarterback and no chance without Green.
So, okay, Fowler one, by the way, had a rough game. Just mispronouncing names, thinking touchdowns happen. Just kind of, he's losing his fastball a little bit. I didn't view it as much as him trashing Singleton, as much as it was just identifying the situation, which is Arkansas's got a backup quarterback who's never played in the SEC, and it wasn't going well. And I think she was more saying hey, I don't know, this offense doesn't look like they're going to be able to get much going without Green. And then they got something going, and which was awesome. But I mean, was anybody not surprised when they got the drives going? Because
I was going to say, man, we all kind of
were saying that, oh man, I don't know if they're going to be able to string a drive together there. And credit to the Hawks, they did it. And I think Fowler and Herbstreit both kind of acknowledged that. But yeah, I didn't take it as him trashing Singleton as much as it was it's a very not ideal situation that Arkansas persevered through. But I saw someone in the chat say that Herbstreit, they were he hates the Hogs. Why would Kirk Herbstreit hate Arkansas?
I don't know. Because everybody that's not all in just blowing Arkansas up and just they hate Arkansas.
I just wondered if there was a story because if it's someone that's like Ryan Clark or someone who went to LSU or someone where it's oh yeah, I could see why. Why would Kirk Herbstreit not like Arkansas? Is there a reason for that?
I don't know of any specific thing, but if there is one, I'm sure we'll hear about it and people will be like, this one time this one thing happened, he said this. It's okay, well, and then that sums it up there. Also, Cody says, what's the report on Green's injury? I guess the only thing we know still is from the press conference that was an MCL, and they're hopeful for it, right? I mean, that's pretty much it.
I don't know. He didn't say that during the live press conference. I don't know if he said it on the sideline or if they reported it in the room maybe beforehand. But yeah, that's the scuttlebutt. So we'll see.
He's got an MCL.
We're not going to hear anything about it until probably next Saturday at about 4:30, I think.
Yeah.
But I can't remember who said it, but just earlier in the chat about just keeping Taylen Green as a game time decision, no matter what. That's prepare yourself for that. That's probably exactly what's going to happen.
And look, I agree that we're not going to hear anything definitive on this, and nobody seems to know anything definitive because it's so early. But based on just kind of the vibe I'm getting from everything, it seems more optimistic than they thought when the injury happened. Because I think we all saw the injury and we were like, oh crap, that's a bad, serious one. It doesn't seem like it's going to be one of those. But who knows? I mean, I'm not gonna try and play the injury speculation game, but it seems like there's at least a chance that he's back for LSU.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for that. I mean, the bye week could not come at a better time for that exact reason. Because imagine if LSU was coming to town this Saturday.
There's no way he would have played this Saturday. I just feel like
I don't think so either. So yeah, that's crucial for him. But I'm hopeful for it. And again, Malachi Singleton did fine, but as everybody says, there's a reason why there's one guy that's a QB1. And Taylen Green, look at the numbers. Yes, he missed Isaac TeSlaa when he was wide open. You totally get that. But his numbers, comparatively speaking, I mean, what was it, 20% percentage points higher completion percentage than he's had pretty much in most games this year?
Yeah, he was shoving, man. He was shoving.
Yeah, I mean,
who would have thought that we'd be in a situation where the game that finally sold the fan base on Taylen Green was the game that Malachi Singleton led a game-winning touchdown drive.
Yeah.
Somehow those two things happened at the same time.
All these things, everything's backwards right now. I mean, just thinking about what everyone felt a week ago to now, that's what makes it so much fun, is just the craziness that goes on and the crazy change of scenery that people have for all of that too.
Curtis, I want you to take this one. On a scale of 1 how confident are you in Kudus playing against LSU?
If the bottom of the scale is 1, I'm probably going to go there. So
yeah,
I mean,
will we ever know?
Hear otherwise?
Will it ever be known of what the injury is? How like it just? I'm not saying that we deserve to know, but it's just still kind of like, dude, it's 6 games. It's halfway of the season, and he hasn't played. He didn't even do fall camp. It's at some point you got to be like, he's out for the year. Yeah. And this is why.
He's probably just not going to say anything about it, I guess, until someone asks him again.
Yeah.
You know,
and then nobody will. They'll ask him about Poschke, though. I mean, they'll do that, but yeah, not going to ask him about this.
Back, though.
He does have a back.
Hopefully he gets Jalen Braxton back, though. Speaking of back.
It's the same thing with him, man. Like, it's what the hell's really going on there? It's crazy.
I know. What do we think that the injury report's going to show next week for Taylen Green? First off, is it going to be a doubtful, a probable, questionable?
They'll put him at questionable.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think questionable is like the coaches have figured out that questionable is the one you can get away with just throwing anyone there, good or bad, and it's like, well,
I would be shocked even if there was never a chance of him playing. I would be stunned if they listed him as out at any point before game day.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd agree that. And see, this is another thing. I just want to bring this up. It's funny because Rob's like, Feinbaum and Dummy didn't say a single good word about Arkansas yesterday in their BS. Guys, listen, I get it, but who cares? Who cares what Feinbaum has to say? Hey, who cares if anybody's not saying anything about you? I know we all love attention. We're all attention whores when we win. We want all the people to talk about us. But, hey, who cares? Who cares? It does not matter. Just go out and win. Beat LSU, and guess what? You'll have more people talking about you. That's all that matters.
I feel so bad for anybody who sat through a Feinbaum show waiting to hear something. That's 4 hours of just, like, pain. You were waiting for something insightful to come out of Paul Feinbaum, bro. That's a tough place to be.
Yeah, not a place that I want to be in. That's for sure. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the best and worst of the weekend, presented by the Leroy Lounge on Dixon Street. Again, we'll be there tonight, 6 p.m. Come out and hang out. I got a few friends of mine that are going to be out there too, and we're going to be, of course, continuing to talk about some of the stuff going on in Arkansas and some of the stuff that we didn't get to here on the show. We'll have the phone lines open as well. But come hang out with some great food, great drinks, and great vibes, and a lot of great games to check out there too. But I'll go and kick it off, and I'm just going to give a little bit of a warning to this. If you have kids in the car, and or you're listening back to this and there's children around, please hit that skip button to the next 15 seconds, or just mute, because there may be some swear words that are going to be in this. But this was the best thing I saw from all the reactions that happened. Shout out to Landon Jackson, man, in this one.
Landon, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good? We feeling good? Hey, fuck them all. Hey, I can't fuck with them all.
Let it all loose, Landon Jackson. Just let it all loose, man. He ain't coming back. He's going to go pro. I just love seeing that, man. Just calling out the Vol and then calling out the Hogs, and with some expletives to go along with it, just made me very happy.
Yeah, that's pretty elite, man. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and getting that in the press conferences.
I hadn't seen the second video. I saw the F of Vol. I had not seen the they can't mess with the Hog. I did not see that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was definitely a good one for me, and I'll let you guys go just in case because sometimes I know we end up stealing each other's. I'll let you guys go ahead.
I know, man. I mean, I've got a handful, and I'm always afraid because I don't want to steal too much of Andrew's thunder. So I'll only go with, I'll go with I'll tell you what. How about this? There you go.
That's good.
How about a 5-star top 10 prospect in the country, Malik Thomas, in the Razorback threads, who just so happened to be on an official visit and saw the whole thing going down. What do we think about that?
It's big.
Feels good, man.
Big, man. I mean, I don't know how much in recruiting is, what they do and what they don't do, but I'm just telling you right now, if I'm a basketball player, completely different sport, 5-star, you can go anywhere you want in the country. And I go to where Arkansas is 100% one of the teams in the running, if not top 2, top 3, whatever. I go to an atmosphere like that, and I see that, and forget all the other basketball stuff. Like, that's going to be hard pressed not to be a part of. So could not happen at a better time for recruiting when it comes to Malik Thomas.
No, that's awesome because it's like, Malik Thomas knows the case of why he should go to Arkansas. John Calipari. Oh, he coached this guy. He coached that guy. Oh, he puts all these guys in the NBA. Like, he knows that case. But to see him see the real life side of it, where it's like, hey, I'm going to actually have to spend time here at this university. Would I enjoy it? I think that would have to be a resounding yes. I can't imagine he didn't have fun. I'd love to see him just over there and he's just like not pleased with the, just not loving the atmosphere. But I'd imagine that kind of stuff can't hurt. I always love when people ask, they'll be like, you think that helped so-and-so? It's like, sure, yeah. Like, I don't know how it couldn't,
I tell you what.
Anybody's gone to a college football game and been like, this sucks.
Right. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
But I tell you what, though, it's if it was me, I would have no interest in going and visiting Kansas State after this. That's all. Like, why the hell would I go do that at this point? Nope.
I think he thinks that Manhattan is like it's New York. Like, I think that's where he thinks he's going on a visit. He's like, oh yeah, I'll go to Manhattan. I'll go check it out. See Times Square. Yeah. And when he realizes it's going to be in Kansas, he'll be like, wait, what? No, we're not doing that. Well, Curtis, I appreciated that. Cam Little hit a game winner, got the Jags their first win of the season. They're now 1-4, LOL. But Cam Little, 49-yard game winner. I believe he's 9 of 10 on the year right now, and he's hit a bunch from 50 yards. But did y'all see this cool video of him reacting to his own game winner in the locker room afterwards?
Right down Main Street, brother. Right down the
I like that. Right down Main Street, brother.
as if he didn't see his own game winner and knew that was going to be. That was cool though. I was really happy for him. I mean, I was nervous. I'm like, dude, rookie, the kicker, you got it all against you, but he nailed it. Just shout out to him. Another best of the weekend. I'm gonna have a few of these too, but I'm gonna play a few of these videos here. How about it was good to see this again,
5
folks.
years. That's the greatest win we've had this far. We're going through.
So yeah, I mean, it was good to see that again, and all in unison too. How about that? All together now. Turn that damn jukebox on. So shout out to that. That was pretty cool too. After the game. Is any more best of the weekends for y'all, or do we need to move to worst of the weekends?
I have one that's kind of a hybrid, best and worst of the weekend. So I'll save it for that the worst.
A hybrid of it. Okay. All right. So worst of the weekend for me was, of course, I don't have it pulled up, but man, no, I'll move on from that. But still, there was this viral video going on around of a Tennessee fan getting pummeled outside of the Razorback Stadium, and he got arrested. He ended up on the Washington County site and everything. But, people were sharing it and posting it, and then people kept trying to beat him up, and the woman was trying to, I'm not going to show the video, but anyways, that's just stuff that's like, man, I know it happens, and I'm not saying one's at fault the other, like it just doesn't matter, but it's just like, dude, seeing stuff like that happen after a great win like that is just unfortunate. I mean, the Tennessee fans that I was around were pretty pleasant for the most part. And then some Razorback fans, of course, let them hear about it, which you're going to have in SEC games. It's just part of it. But never want to see any sort of fights breaking out, especially outside the stadium where, people are getting arrested and all that. And it was students, too, that were doing it. And I was like, man, you guys just celebrated. Now you're mad and you're making me going to jail. So, yeah, just celebrate. It's all great. And, be humble in that. Don't start any fights. Don't get in physical altercations because it's going to go viral. Everyone's got their phone out. They're going to see it. Just nobody needs to deal with that.
Yeah, for sure, man. And mine's kind of along the same lines there, but the Tennessee player who just flattened the Razorback fan, his girlfriend there during the field storm, it's just inexcusable. You can't do that. And I like that he owned it and apologized and everything like that. I mean, it doesn't take away from what he did, but I'm glad that he at least owned it. But I don't know, man. You just hate to see that. And honestly, it's probably part of a bigger issue. I love a good field storm or a court storm, but there's something to be said for you're kind of set up for crap like this to happen when it's the combination of the emotions of, probably just drunk and super excited fans. And then, an opposing team, especially in a football game, like you were just in physical warfare for 3 hours and you're really ticked off and emotional after a loss. Like it's almost setting up for something bad like that to happen. There's got to be a better way to handle that situation. But I hated seeing that. Hated seeing it because it took away from the coolness of the experience of the field storm in general. And then, I thought, it's probably not a good representation of what Tennessee is actually all about. So that sucked, man. Didn't like it.
Yeah, it's always one of those like spur of the moment, just kind of pissed off reactions. And you see it happen a lot, but it's crazy. And then you see people like Caitlin Clark fake their injuries during court storms. And, you never want to see stuff like that. Why can't we all just have fun? But I guess that's the reasoning. That's the case for why there shouldn't be these type of field storm situations. Also, John, I lied. I did actually have one more best of the weekend. I mean, best or worst of the weekend, it's just a thing that happened this weekend. Former Diamond Hog Matt Reynolds has retired from the sport of baseball. He was a second-round pick in 2012, was on that 2012 Arkansas Omaha team, made his big league debut in 2016, and had basically been a fringe MLB guy from 2016 to 2023. And then this year he'd been kind of in AAA a little bit, and he's finally hanging it up. But I wanted to give a shout out to Matt Reynolds, who had a really long run there of just fighting every day, trying to be on a big league roster. And he played for 3 or 4 different MLB teams, played third base, first base, shortstop, second base, left field, right field. Shout out to Matt Reynolds, who is one of the better Diamond Hogs of the last 20 years or so. Wanted to give him his flowers a little bit. And now it's time for my hybrid, best and worst of the weekend. So the best of the weekend would be that Alex Pereira, the cool Brazilian UFC fighter, got a knockout, retained his UFC title, which I have the video of the finish, just about 14 seconds of it. It was kind of gruesome, like the fourth round where he finished him. But here was the final sequence.
Oh my goodness. What hard, but he just doesn't have much left.
Wait a minute. This is going to get a shutdown, isn't it?
I don't know.
It probably will get a shutdown. Did we end up working it out last time or no?
Yeah, it gets worked out.
Okay, well then I'll play it.
Oh my goodness. What hard, but he just doesn't have much left. Oh, there it is. Body shot right there. That will indeed do it. And still.
Now, that's just a small snippet, and I know there's some people who might think, oh, that guy was just kind of standing there getting beat up, and it seemed like he kind of quit. Well, this is what he looked like. He had
brutal,
eyes
man,
flapping around, nose busted up, nose pouring. He did an interview in the octagon after the fight, and while he's doing it, his nose is just draining blood. It was one of those true going out on your shield, warrior's deaths type of thing.
I guess he was somehow winning, right? By rounds.
Won the first 2 rounds on all 3 judges' scorecards, and in the third round, you could start to see Poatan starting to pick him apart a little bit. The guy he was going up against was minus 300 to win by knockout, which he ended up doing in the 4th round. But it was a lot more competitive than I think most people expected. And man, it was just an awesome fight. And I was actually JT Hazelwood. Shout out to him. He texted me this morning and he said everybody should get to feel what Roundtree went through of dying on your shield and really just going out like that. And there's all these slow-mo videos of him getting jabbed and blood squirting out. And he was just like, man, that's such an awesome feeling, talking about the guy losing. And I was like, I'll take your word for it, buddy. I do not think I want to experience that in my life, but
I'm good.
I wanted to shout out. It was a little bit of a hybrid best and worst of the weekend, because it really was a little bit gruesome, where I was like, man, this is tough to watch.
Yeah.
You looked like one of those extras from Braveheart, it's hey, just cover him in red blood paint, and except it wasn't. It was actually blood. Yeah. That's pretty nasty. Michelle does not understand why people like this sport in the chat, by the way.
It's just because she lost her few UFC bets that she's placed.
Yeah.
When you bet on the KO and it happens, it's exhilarating. You're yelling at the guy to die on screen. It's good stuff. It's great.
It's good old fashioned family fun.
People really don't die in mixed martial arts.
Yet.
They just get severely injured.
Yeah. Well,
Andrew, I'm surprised, Andrew, that you didn't have Bron and Bronny sharing the floor together in Lakers uniforms on your best of the weekend. I wrote it down, but I specifically didn't touch on it because I could have sworn you were going to go there. But
no Bron and Bronny for me. Although, did you see Bron was LeBron, the old one, was really adamant at standing right next to him where they could have the side by side shot and all that. He knew where the cameras were and all that. But that actually is cool though. But it wasn't. It didn't make the cut for my best of the weekend.
I also wanted to do another worst of the weekend, and I am not I'm not trying to start nothing or anything like that. But speaking of calls, old Chuck, man, come on now, end of the game. He did not throw a pass. Tennessee did not throw a pass, and it was not incomplete. I know it's a tough thing in that situation, but I do that as a worst of the weekend in twofold. One, having a legendary upset like that, and that's the call, is always tough. But then two, being in that situation, it's tough, man, because it's like that's a lot of pressure. You got to nail that call, and if you don't nail that call, people are going to remember it and hold it against you. So it's like it's tough no matter what. But yeah,
man. And honestly, I almost had that last play on worst of the weekend, but then I thought about it, and I guess it was really best of the weekend for Arkansas fans. But the fact that the dude didn't even let it rip, like he didn't even give his team a chance. That was very, like we said on the postgame show, EA Sports clock management type of vibes there. I cannot believe he didn't throw that football.
Did y'all see the clip where apparently Joe Milton had done the exact same thing a couple years ago, and it was like
timed out,
same yard line, same everything, and it's like, bro, what?
It's crazy.
Also, I see Jeff just popped this up. Where worse was the Alabama DB. Did y'all see? I believe it was Malachi Moore, who's like their best player, and he kicked the ball, and they were gonna. By the way, they were gonna lose. Like Vandy was kneeling it out, like the game was over.
Mm-hmm.
Kicked the ball, man, and he was like throwing his mouthpiece and really mad. And he had a teammate who was even like, we're gonna have to talk to him about that. That was freaking crazy. Don't do that. And I thought that was interesting. And man, that's just another thing that I see, and I'm like, there's no way that happens under Nick Saban.
No. Well, I mean, I don't know about that, because when they're a national championship game or whatever, they had a player that just lost his mind on the sidelines and everything, was like shoving coaches, and I got ejected. Yeah. And so
you're right.
It was the center that yelled at AJ McCarron and like shoved him.
Well, there was that.
I want to say it was on the field.
Yeah, there was that, but this was another one where it was like just a few years ago where, I mean, he was losing his mind, and everyone's like, dude, man, Saban's going to kill you right now. Like, he is going to shank you for acting this way. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. I don't remember
it being a team captain and it being their best player. I don't think a guy that Nick Saban has as his captain, I don't think would do that, but who knows?
Yeah.
Is it a double best and worst of the weekend, for best being Vandy yanking the goalpost and throwing it in the Cumberland, and worst being them excavating it after?
Yes.
Like getting it out of there?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was kind of use that as a best of the weekend too, because I know we just got a few minutes here, but man, I love that for Vanderbilt, for one. I mean, come on. That's so cool. And Vanderbilt's even when Nick Saban was it 2 weeks ago, it's like, the easiest place to play in the SEC is Vanderbilt, because you got more fans and of that. But like watching that game, I saw people, like kids, students, they were crying in the stands profusely. Like they just couldn't believe it. So that was cool. But also, I'm not even going to ask a question because I know the answer. There is no other sport that stuff like that happens, where you carry the field goal post from Vanderbilt to Broadway, which is not a quick trip, mind you. It's not like going from Razorback Stadium to Dixon. Like, it's a haul. You get a police escort and you throw it in the river. That does not happen in the NFL or in the NBA or in college basketball or anything like that. College football, that's why it's my favorite, is that type of stuff doesn't happen in any other sport. And it's just so cool. You get a police escort from Vanderbilt University to Broadway carrying I don't know how much it weighs, big old pound of metal, and then you just toss it in the river. No one's stopping you. The cops are like, all right, let's arrest these people. No, it's like, no, here's your rite of passage. Go right ahead, sir. We'll get it out later. It's like,
that was incredible, man.
Just awesome, man.
And their quarterback, Diego Pavia, had a Landon Jackson moment, except he did it on live air. It wasn't somebody's cell phone. It was literally an interview. He dropped the Vandy's effing turn on the mic. So
when he had just said that God put him on this earth to beat football teams or something like crazy like that. That guy's awesome, dude. He's been a part of two of the biggest upsets in US or SEC history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Vandy now.
That's right.
Yeah. See, that's awesome, and I can't wait to see. Like, what 0% chance that Clark Lee is at Vanderbilt next year, right?
Where is he going to go?
Another job that's better.
No, dude. One, he's a Vandy grad, but also like he's in that weird mode where like his career record. I mean, they went 2-10 last year. I don't know if he's necessarily a candidate anywhere. You know what I mean? I think Vandy's just going to be where he's at.
Yeah, but if he takes Vanderbilt to 7 wins or something in a bowl game, It depends on what he wants to do. If he is an alum, it is what it is. But like,
Yeah.
it's a shitty job. I mean, just like he's not. There's no way to have sustained success there. So if he's happy at his alma mater, then sure. But if I was him and I had a really good season or whatever, and I could parlay into a different job, it's not like he's going to get another job in the SEC, but something where you might have better resources, then I might consider it. Then
that's kind of where I was thinking. I was like, if he's going to leave, it's going to have to be somewhere like a, like a lower Big 12 random,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like somewhere random. But
where was he before?
In which case I do think he's going to stay at Vandy though.
I think it was the Notre Dame DC, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I was gonna say maybe he goes, because who knows? There could be a coach from the SEC that leaves from other school. Like, what if Mark Stoops left? Then suddenly, okay, that Kentucky job's open. Do they go and get Clark Lee? Is Kentucky a better job than Vanderbilt? I mean, there's just a lot of pieces that could have, but that was just cool. I just really like that for Vanderbilt. And now they can. And also, I got a buddy of mine, as you guys know, who's a Bama guy. I can't imagine Bama fans and how they feel like after that. You literally went to Wisconsin and won. You beat Georgia, like one of the best teams in a crazy. You almost blew it, but you won it, and you follow that up with of all the teams in the SEC to lose to, all of them, you lost to Vanderbilt.
Tough.
And it really hurts me that Vanderbilt beat Alabama before Arkansas did.
That's tough too.
Man, that's killer. That's killer. Because I know there's some other SEC games that happened. Shout out to A&M and beating the trash out of Missouri too, by the way.
I did not see that coming, frankly.
That was awesome, man. Yeah, they looked really good. Connor Wegman might be a better fit for that offense than we gave him credit for. He was shoving in there, man. That was emphatic, dude. And shout out to Eli Drinkwitz or whoever it was that planted the Texas A&M towel thing or whatever in Theo Weiss's hotel room. That was BS.
That was weird.
That is.
And then they got blown out.
See, and I had that written down. I forgot because I was going to use it as my worst of the weekend. Because Elko, you could tell Elko was pissed.
Yes.
And I don't blame him because I'm like, dude, it's one thing to motivate your team and you're going to use tactics. But when you're like doing that and trying to almost trash some other players, like faking it to make it look like, oh, this player left you this on your pillowcase or whatever. Yeah, that's why you need to be motivated. And it's not true because that's showing a lot about that player who allegedly planted that's character. Like this guy's a jerk and a not a good sportsman, like all that. And he didn't do anything. Like that's if I was a coach and that was my player, I'd be so pissed off if that happened. So
I thought it was
I don't blame
lame
him.
that Theo Weiss was wearing the blanket when he went out for pregame, which he ended up catching. I think the only touchdown Missouri scored. He had a huge play, so it's like it wasn't even like it backfired on him. They also had Brady Cook's statement. They put it on the big screen. Brady Cook's statement of like, yeah, it's actually louder at practice than it is at the. Why do people do that? Why on earth do people do that? Like, and I know Brett Bielema did that or whatever, but it's like trying to be like, oh yeah, it's this atmosphere. I'm sure it won't be crazy. It's like, I get it. It's like you're trying to troll, but it's like you realize it's just going to make people go even crazier. Like, I just don't understand why people would publicly challenge teams or challenge fans like that because fans are crazy.
Yeah, do you remember after the Darth Vader Dan Mullen game? When they beat Missouri and all that, and what Eli Drinkwitz said after that, he's like, I'm coach better than that. He's like, my dad always taught me, jackassery breeds jackassery, and that's just the type of thing. I'm like, dude, you are the living example of that exact thing that you were against. Like, you think Dan Mullen wearing a Darth Vader mask was jackassery, and you were so offended by that, but yet you're doing these type of tactics? Come on, man.
Right. Or the shot directly at him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, it's so messed up.
Did you guys see Kirby Smart calling out his own damn fans?
I guess not.
I feel like I skimmed past it. What was it?
He said it was like the first time he was disappointed in the fans after a home win or whatever. Yeah,
that's right, because they beat Auburn by like 20 and they were like not happy with it.
Yeah, I got his quote right here. He says, "If anything, to be honest, I'm probably disappointed in our fans for the first time." He said, "I thought that there was a lack of really affecting the game, crowd noise wise, passion and energy. Hey, it was hot, but our players got full pads on, helmets, pads, and it's hot there. They're pushing, trying to give a home field advantage like we've had when we played against teams. And I can't get crowd noise. That's frustrating for me. I'll just be honest about it. I think we've got to do a better job as fans. I know I've got to do a better job as a coach, but we need these fans to support us, and these players need them behind them." Whoa, dude.
That's a lot.
Whoa, buddy.
That's coming out of the book of Nick Saban, because I remember Nick Saban would always get after the fans. If they beat like Troy or something by 50 and they were leaving in the third quarter, and he's just so mad about it, and getting after it. So, man, everybody's mad. It's like,
it's a good time to be a Hog.
I was going to say, deep down, do you think Nick Saban like is kind of hoping Kirby Smart doesn't accomplish a ton in college football? Like deep down, I know he's obviously like, that's his protege and all that, but it's like, that would kind of piss me off if like, as soon as I am kind of reaching the tail end, someone just comes up and immediately takes the throne and holds it for 20 years. Like, you think he's hoping that Georgia maybe struggles to hold the crown in this era?
Of course he is.
He's got to be, right?
I think every coach is. Do you think he's rooting harder against Smart or harder against DeBoer?
I was about to ask that question.
Well, dude, okay. Whenever they brought him and Miss Terry on game day when they were at Bama last week, they seem to really love Alabama and like love Tuscaloosa. Like they still live there, and like it's so I think there's more of a connection to the fan base, and I think also he probably knows DeBoer's not going to do what Kirby's doing. True. I don't think he's going to. Bama's still going to be very good, and he'll probably even win a couple national titles. But I don't think DeBoer puts the fear of God in people the way that Kirby does, and I think Saban kind of knows that.
That's fair.
So it's easier to cheer for Bama because it's like, oh yeah, I want this school to have success. Whereas like Kirby really could be a historically great college football coach.
Well, I know we just got about to wrap up here, but I was curious because of this question, like. Who's happy in the SEC like right now? I know A&M fans are. A&M is. I think Texas is for the most part right now. Yeah. Arkansas, pretty happy for sure. But
right now,
yeah, like who else is happy? Vanderbilt, I guess he for sure is happy.
Yeah, and even they had a god awful loss against Georgia State.
Yeah.
Like everybody has a butt.
Yeah, power rankings.
Everybody does have a butt. Yeah, everybody has a butt.
Everybody has an NPL.
But no, you're right, man. That's
I mean, is LSU happy right now? Is LSU happy?
No.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they're super, super thrilled.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just nice for once to have like Arkansas not being in the, unhappy thing. In fact, right now, guys, Arkansas is tied for third in the SEC. I'm just saying right now with Georgia.
Yeah, with Georgia. How about that, dude?
Just like we all predicted. But either way, well, hey, that does it for us here on Inside Arkansas Live, folks. Be sure to subscribe to us here on Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page, and also get to our website for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information and written content at InsideArkansas.com. A lot of great things going on there, too. And also come out to the Leroy Lounge tonight, starting at 6 p.m. We're going to be live streaming with our Hangout. Going to be chilling, talking about a lot of the stuff that we didn't get to today, getting you ready for Monday Night Football, some great food and drinks, too. So we're going to be having fun there, and we're there every Monday night at 6 p.m. So for Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon, see you tonight at the Leroy, starting at 6 p.m. on Dixon Street.